Hello and welcome. I am the Suit&Tie, Dip&ChewGuy, and this is part 2 of part 2. Tonight is the answers segment of the questions and answers, the Q&A. I did the Q segment a couple nights ago, or 4 nights ago, and tonight was me answering the questions. Well, I've already done one video that's like 19 minutes long, so this is actually the second part. It was just running so long, I wasn't sure if this computer was going to be able to hold out through it. So there is already one video tonight answering a good number of them in detail. This is the second part. So I'm going to just go into the... Oh, you know what? I did want to mention... when I was going over in the first video, why did I start YouTube, I had mentioned that I couldn't find reviews without a whole bunch of, BS going on, people acting crazy, and also that I was trying to keep my mind occupied. A big part, a third thing, and a big part of it was this was supposed to act, and has, as a practice for public speaking. Now, yes, I know there's no audience in front of me. I'm actually talking to a dot right now. But I can imagine it. And the upside of this is reviewing playback, I can actually critique myself, which is always important. So, I bring this up right at the beginning because it's at the top of my mind, because before I published, I just watched the first video. And I was not making as much eye contact as I should have. So I tend to wander eyes-wise. It's sort of like a search for words, and it's real. I usually am trying to search for the words I want, but you can do that and still make more eye contact than I was in the first video. So that's at the top of my mind now, and that's why I bring that up. A big reason for starting was to improve my speaking skills. Anyway, I had left off with do I drink in the last video, so if you want to know about that, that's in the last video. Second part of that person's question has the way they worded it, I'm not quite... I am guessing they're wondering if I have mouth problems from using dip or chew. I have some definite mouth problems that have nothing to do with dip or chew. In fact, it predates me using either. I had braces when I was in high school, and they gave me a false hope type deal where they said, oh, they're going to be on for 19 months, and then at 13 months they said, hey, we can take them off next month. So I was like, I just saved 5 months, and then they took them off and said, hey, we're going to cement in this retainer for the next 4 years. And I was like, no, you're not. Actually, I didn't tell them no, you're not until actually after they took the braces off. Then I told them before they put the retainer in. So basically, my teeth are all messed up, and I have some shifting going on that could cause me problems with that tooth. May not be making it the length or lifespan of this channel. Young guys, if you see that tooth at some point disappear, it has absolutely nothing to do with smokeless tobacco products in my mouth. It has to do with me making a bad decision 2.5 decades ago. So that is mouth problems. You do want to switch up locations and take care of your mouth. Teeth, brushing, flossing, a mouthwash is usually good. Keep having an idea of what's going on in there, inspection time, common sense stuff, all right? But you want to be doubly sure of doing those things if you use dip or chew. Do I ever rock out to Ted Nugent? Not recently. I do not listen to any pop music, whether it be rock or anything anymore. Some of it is due to me having some sensory issues, but a lot of it is social, political outlook. I am not quite into the idea of pop culture in general. So no, I have not listened to Ted in quite a long time. Dress shirts, regular or French cuff. There was a time when I was younger, in my mod days, that I did have some French cuff shirts, and I also had some regular cuff that had options for cufflinks. Sorry. I've sort of moved away from that. The shirts I wear now are not up brands by any means, and they are traditional Oxford. Oxford cloth, always the button down old school collar. Some of my shirts do still have a full button down, which means that there's a button in the back still. This one does not. And regular plain Jane cuffs. The flashy stuff sort of I moved away from in my early 30s, or what I consider flashy now. My perception of things changed, basically. Pipe videos, not rolling them out. Not quite there yet, though. I'm trying to stay as close to primary topic as I can without drifting too far in any direction. There's a lot of things I could talk about. There is a lot of other types of tobacco I could talk about. But I'm trying to keep the channel on its core, the core elements. Dip, chew, and as of around last December, nasal snuff. All right. There is a playlist called Hand Back the Pack that does touch on other types of tobacco. I had originally intended to add to that playlist, but I have been shying away from doing that. I'm not ruling out pipe videos, but as of right now, I don't have any plans of doing any. Typical day in the life. Is it pain to suit up for the videos? I do not wear this for work. This is my non-work mode of dress. Keep in mind, I am going to be 43 in a couple months. I'm not some, and I'm also ridiculously old school even for my age. This is how I dress. Now, work-wise, my mode of dress for work is more probably in line with, let's say, rural America. All right. I work outside. There is a lot of Riggs workwear by Wrangler, jeans, barn coats, baseball hats, that type of stuff, work boots, etc. This is just how I dress. Not always a blazer and a tie, but if I wasn't, I would probably be in a collared shirt with a V-neck sweater type deal. Stick away from jeans when I'm in this mood. Typical day. Well, I get up, I stay up entirely too late, which is really not good for you. Something you should stick away from or get out of if you can. Unfortunately, due to some medications that I take for sleeping, it's sort of impossible for me to get an early night in. So I get up ridiculously late. I wake up often on about every hour and a half during the morning till close to lunchtime sometimes. And then I get up and I work outside until dusk. Right now, here, it's getting dark. It's pretty much dark by 7:30 now. So right now, I'm cutting off around 6:30. And then I head over to my father's house, which is in the immediate area here, and we usually watch baseball or sometimes Law and Order or something along those lines if there's not a game on. And around 9:30, 10 o'clock, I head home, shower up, and then I get into this, do the video, and upload the video, and then sit around reading stuff online. Usually go on like a Wikipedia crawl until like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then repeat the process. Not terribly exciting, I know. Cologne. I don't know how it came about. I'm almost sort of embarrassed to say what this is. I don't know how it came about, but it came about a long, long time ago. It was probably the 1994 trip to Scotland. Calvin Klein won. Swear to God. Now, if I try anything else, it just doesn't sit right with me. Calvin Klein won very light. I always go very, very light on cologne. First smokeless product. I was looking at this in between the two videos. It could very well have been either Skull Cherry or Skull Classic Straight. Not really sure. It might have been. I might have bought both at one time, but it was something along those lines. Yes, I just flip pages. What are all the books? Okay, well, up there is military history and Imperial British military history, ancients history, and political. Down here is World War I, the Osprey collection, and some mixed. This is a old 1968 Time Life book collection of ancient civilizations. It's called The Great Ages of Men. Down bottom is about, these books are probably from my early part of high school, so around like 90 to 92. They are all Beat Generation. Yeah. Jack Kerouac, Holmes, there's some William Burroughs, Ken Kesey, Charles Bukowski. I even got some Hunter Thompson down there. Then over there is some how-to stuff and some general literature along the lines of like Hemingway, stuff like that. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Nicotine pouch reviews. Not a big fan of doing alternatives. Was playing with the idea of starting a playlist for them, but I really don't like them. And I opted to go with the bubblegum because I do like that. Not going to rule it out though, because there have been some pouch reviews that I've seen people do recently, like Berg's, that sort of did pick up my interest a little bit. So I'm not going to rule them out, but I have no plans of doing any at this time. Lapel pin. The lapel pin is of my clan. It's the clan crest. When I say clan, I mean Lowland Scottish, not the other one. What clan is that? To say that would give away basically my name. So I'm not going to do that either, but I will give you a hint. The gray-black tartan tie that I wear is my clan tartan. So if you can identify that, you'll also have the pin. The state I'm in, I am in Pennsylvania, an hour and a half to 2 hours south of Berg's Dip Reviews. Another first dip, as I said before, Skull Straight, Classic Straight, or Skull Cherry. Although now that I think about it, because of the person I was with when I started using dip, it was on that paint job. Copenhagen Wintergreen might have been very early on too, like very early. Smoking versus vape. And I think the person, I don't have obviously the page in front of me, I think that the person was wondering what I thought health-wise between the two. Smoking manufactured cigarettes, if you're doing it still, you need to stop. Stop. All right, I can't even have an inside knowledge of the process that goes into making them. You need to stop. I cannot stress that enough. I've said it time and time again throughout almost from the very beginning when I started this channel. Smoking cigarettes is ridiculously bad for you. Smoking cigarettes you make yourself with loose tobacco, lighting any tobacco on fire is not good for you. Even my pipe, it's not good for you. Oh, well, pipe tobacco smokers don't inhale. I inhale, but even if you didn't inhale, it's still bad for you. Cigarette smoking, the number one cause of mouth cancer and throat cancer is cigarette smoking. It's not dip. In fact, Dip and Chew, I don't think even make the top 10 list anymore. And that's by official channels, like official medical stuff. So smoking is just stop. Vape, I have said this, I am not a fan of vape at all. That said, I know cigarettes are so ridiculously bad for you. I can't imagine anything coming to light anytime down the road that makes me think vape is worse than manufactured cigarettes. That said, I do not particularly care for vape. I do not do it myself. I did try it for a short time with a V-use. Listen, even before the V-use, I was one of the very first people to have electronic cigarette in like early 2000s. I think I returned that. But look, vaping is water vapor. All right. Number one, you're inhaling water vapor into your lungs. Vapor is an airborne, obviously. The water is airborne. It's aerosoled. But basically, if it was in solid form, they have a name for that. It's called drowning. That and the vape thing, oh, well, it's FDA approved ingredients. Well, it might not be as bad as cigarette manufacturers claiming that, but still, FDA, Food and Drug Administration, usually approves these ingredients as like food additives. Obviously, when they approved those food additives, they did not think anyone would be inhaling them. Now, and there goes an empty can of Stoker's. The other thing about vaping that I do want to say, though, and all the negative stuff going on about vaping right now, they actually sometimes say it on the news. All these people getting sick from chemical pneumonia from vaping, they're not vaping, V-use or whatever. They're vaping drugs. They're vaping weed. And every once in a while, a newscaster will actually mention that fact. They're not vaping and ending up with chemical pneumonia from something you buy in a Sheetz or a Wawa or a Circle K or whatever. They're ending up with that because they're vaping something they bought off a drug dealer or some Arab in a vape shop. It's like, anyway. But I would approach vaping with caution. I think there are risks there that will come to light at some point down the road that are not known at this time. Suit for work. No. Suit is for being in a suit. Pick one chew. I don't want to pick one chew. There's a number I like over a number of different companies. And I'd rather not just pick one. Stoker's makes a lot of products I like, but I'm a diehard when it comes to Red Man Original. And there are others, that Big Duke. If I could find that and go, I have a review of it, Big Duke. If I could find that around there, I'd probably be buying up, a couple pouches of that a week if I could find it. But hobbies, music, I already addressed. Drink. When I drank, I was a pretty plain Jane beer. Towards the end, it was just beer. Early on, there was liquor involved. I like some high-end scotches. But when I was 18, 19, and I was really hitting it hard, I was vodka, fifth of Absolute a night, and beer. Beer wise, I was always good with Budweiser myself. I, mind you, it's not the best tasting beer. I'm brought up in the British tradition of like cream ales, so like a Boddington actually would be what I would, because well, number one, the carbonation is different. It's very smooth and goes down very easily as quickly as you want. But when in the States and just general in a bar, Budweiser was fine by me. I mean, you know, the upgrade scotches, Glenmorangie, if you can find I don't know if they have the 18-year anymore. You know what, though? The 12 year is probably going to cost you like close to $40 anymore. Absolute. But I was equal opportunity when it came to alcohol. I mean, there was a couple times on the last few binges I ended up, I think I was 12 packs of Hurricane or something like that. It was freaking train wreck. Anyway, the Suit. Now, I haven't mentioned what I do for work. All right. I am actually, and how long? God, this is 21 minutes. Wow. What I do for work, and I'm not going to get into why or whatnot because that's a story within itself, and we'll save that for another day. I am in a position that I do very low-cost yard and property maintenance for senior citizens in my immediate neighborhood. I make some money. I cover costs. I cover buying dip and whatnot, but that is what I do anymore. When I was actually officially out in the workforce, I worked for a car wash company for a lot of years, and all aspects. I mean, I started out tailing off cars, but that's not how I ended up. And I made a lot of money doing that. Unfortunately, that company and basically all man car wash companies have sort of gone by the wayside. But I came in right at the end of when they were really big. They're really big right at the end of the 80s. I came in early 95 at the tail end of them being very popular. Anymore, a lot of it's self-serve, or like a man thing where they guide you onto the track and then basically it's self-serve. When I was doing it, everything was manned. And I think that's about it. And I'm going to blow through all the people that ask questions real quick because this is going on 25 minutes. I don't. Okay. For participation, I'd like to thank you all. Snoozefreak.com, Dylan Yoder, Reed KJV, Bolly Wally, Chris Wilson, Jeff Gravel, which has been with me like since the beginning. Thank you, Jeff. Content Queen, Dirty Pat Walsh, as always. Unpronounceable Russian name, but I believe the English translation is George Koptiev. Joshua Irvin, Richard Mingerhofer, Building the Constructor, Mark Hertling, Melman Mandela, Bonesaw 380, another long-time viewer, thank you. Glenn Belafont. This name got me on the shout out of it last week. Alnodi Ja. Also, Gafure Video, which I still feel that I am mispronouncing, but thank you. Roger Natak, Bergs from Bergs Dip Reviews, William Klemps, Real Talk Studios, another old time, Dat Woo Woo, Snuff Strings, James Jolly, Back Mac, Chris Schlitt, Travis Smolois, and Powerman 2442. I thank you all for participating in my first Q&A. It has been 45 minutes, well, no, 44 minutes, going on 45 minutes in 2 parts. Yeah, I'm not too happy about that. Anyway, and I still feel like I haven't given you the full story. So I'm not quite sure what I think about all this now. I do hope you all are well. I will be back in 48 hours with a Chew review. We have not had one for a little bit. That is a promise. I do hope you all are well. Do take care of yourselves, and God bless.